We talk about addictions, drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing. Addiction wasn't my problem, but it was what I grew up in. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather was a die-hard alcoholic. And when I say die-hard, I mean he'd go months without drinking, but we knew when he took one drink, he was going to drink enough until he couldn't get out of bed, and he'd urinate and defecate all over himself. I have less than fond memories of the scent of Pine Sol. Ended up bounced around to different family members, foster care. Kind of a strange situation, but I was thankful that they did raise me because they taught me a lot of different things. Fast forwarding a bunch of years, I never realized that addiction was gonna rear its ugly head again.
I'd been using since I was 15, so almost 10 years, something like that, around. I was getting them from just drug dealers and stuff like that in Lebanon, and I was on pain pills, and then it went to crystal meth. I remember my mom would have to come in motel rooms and find me, and I had a court date that I was supposed to be at, and I had finally went to sleep, and I told myself I was only going to sleep for 2 hours and then I'd get up and get ready. Well, I wound up sleeping longer than that and almost missed my court date, and my mom and my brother came busting in the motel room looking for me, and they had no idea where I was. They just calling around asking if people had seen me because nobody knew where I was. They couldn't find me. I put my family in a lot of danger, not even thinking about it when we was around each other. I tried to avoid them as much as I could because I didn't want them to see me like that, but they still found me they found me every time.
They charged me with possession with intent to resell. I had heroin and needles and scales in my purse when they came and got me, and they brought me up here, gave me a $125,000 bond, and I knew then that I was stuck. But it was crazy because I had one of those this is my bottom moments 5 days before I got arrested. I sat in my bathroom and cried and was shooting dope, and I wanted it to be my last shot. I prayed that when I did that shot I didn't wake up. So when I got arrested, I really think that it's something that needed to happen.
I wear this shirt because my daughter Hannah hates this shirt. Hated it with a passion. Wouldn't be seen with me in public in this shirt. So she can't stop me. I wear it. Hannah came to live with me when she was 14. Mom and I got divorced, and she'd been through a lot. She was making bad choices and heading down the wrong path. I've learned over the years that what it comes down to is choices, because the choices that we make determine the path we're going to take. And Hannah started making choices. My granddad always told me that experience is only the best teacher if you survive it. Otherwise, you're just an example of what not to do.
Well, prevention, there's to me, I believe there's two types of prevention. There's that prevention that's going to keep people from ever picking up that first drink, drug, cigarette, any kind of nicotine product, tobacco products, whatever. Personally, the first drug I ever used was tobacco. That was the first thing I ever did, was smoke a cigarette. And I'm grateful to say I have not smoked a cigarette in 13 years, which was probably a bigger deal than coming off of heroin. But prevention is a big deal. If you can prevent people from ever crossing that line, that's of the utmost importance. But the fact remains is that there's people that fall into the cracks. There's people we're not going to reach, and that's where my job comes into play. There's people that end up in treatment, and they get stuck in that revolving door of relapse. They get in treatment, and they go right back out in the street and back and forth. So as a community, if we can address these issues also to help put prevention plans in place that can embrace the recovering addict, Not the one that's not using, but the one that's in recovery, because there is a prevention plan that we have to put together there. And that's some of the things that I would like to do when working with the community and with the Sumner County Anti-Drug Coalition in trying to get something like that in place.
Went to rehab for 45 days, and then from my actions down here, I had a violation in Lebanon kick in, and I wound up doing 9 months there. And if it wasn't for drug court and this program, then they were going to give me I think it was 5 years or something to serve in Wilson County. And so, I've done rehab and just started drug court. And it's the best thing I could ever decided to do for myself. I have 3 kids.
Hi, my name is Vicki. I lost my daughter last year in August of 2015 to an overdose. We were totally surprised and shocked. She really pretty much kept it a secret, her addiction a secret, and was in denial about it. I'm here today just because I would hope that nobody else would waste their life. And if there's any way that we can prevent that loss and the feeling that we have and the devastation that my family and friends have sustained, that we would hope not to have anybody else go through what we've been through. I would like to say to people, if you're listening, do not do drugs. I know that's easy possibly to hear when you have peer pressure and those type of things, but with this drug, with opiates, sometimes it's a one and done situation. My daughter said that the first time that she tried the drug, she was totally hooked and addicted. And that was her one and done situation. She was not able to dig out from it from there. So I would say, don't do it if you have the choice. This is about choices and positive choices, right and wrong choices, so don't do it.
She chose to go to a party with friends. She chose to use. Became impaired and died that night. Experience is only the best teacher if you survive it. But what I learned from all the impacts of addiction through all this is you cannot love somebody enough to get them to quit. They have to love themselves enough. Sometimes we have friends, family members, it may even be yourselves, that are struggling with addiction. You gotta love yourself enough. You've got to be enough. I wouldn't want any other parent to have to sit and tell the story that I tell. Only hurting yourself. That's not true. Love yourself enough. I don't know what else to say.
The Sumner County Anti-Drug Coalition strives to build a safety net of resources and a community of support to link individuals and families to life-saving services. Find prevention, treatment, and recovery options on sumnercoalition.org or call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.